Do you know why the sign of Cancer in your chart is so important? It's one of the most important parts of your chart. And if you don't know your birth time, you can't know where Cancer is in your chart. Unless you've got planets in Cancer, which is great, and that is helpful. But I do hope that you know your birth time. And I do hope that you know where Cancer is in your chart. Leave me a comment below and let me know what houses have Cancer in them, but I really want to know which house cusp does Cancer sit on in your chart. Leave me a comment below. So I'm continuing my moon series with you, and in this moon series I am going to give you so many secrets that people don't even talk about. Why is it important to know where Cancer sits in your chart? Because your moon sign, by house and by sign, runs that house. And the moon is, if not the most important part of the chart, well, then it's only second to the sun. So I really hope you have one of my gorgeous natal charts from my shop at soulnavigation.com. Just click on the shop tab and go order for $10. One of my gorgeous, it's so worth it. I put so many more things than just the chart. I mean, you get to see your out of bounds planets, you get to see your declinations, your eclipses, you get to see, it's all color coded. It is so beautiful. You can like blow it up and frame it and put it on your wall. Hopefully you'll print out numerous copies, some that you can mark up, some that you can frame. Get your natal chart out for this video because I'm going to give you tips and techniques to understand yourself at the deepest level that you exist. Why do you exist? You know, why were you born? Well, we look to the moon sign and we can see the emotional programming inside of you. We're not looking at your pretty face. We're not looking at why your body is shaped the way it is. We're not looking at the sweet things in you. We are looking at the depth of you when we look at the moon. I am going to take this series into all 12 signs into a deeper look, but it's important that you start this series from start to finish. And I want you to watch all the moon signs, even if it isn't your moon sign, because let's say I'm talking about the Gemini moon and you don't have a Gemini moon. Just watch that video and go look in your gorgeous natal chart that I created for you, hopefully, and see where you have Gemini. And wherever you have Gemini, whatever I am saying about the Gemini moon, that's how that part of your life is operating. Okay, so it's really important that you understand you have all 12 signs inside of you. It's just, where are they? I am talking about the sign of Cancer, and I know that you don't have necessarily a Cancer moon. Maybe you do, but for those of you who don't, like I don't have a Cancer moon, wherever you have Cancer in your chart, your moon, in whatever sign it is in, it doesn't matter if it's in Aquarius or Scorpio or Capricorn, it is running that house. And that is so important. And if you didn't watch my moon video part 1, you've got to go back and watch that video to understand this video. So go watch that video, then come back here and watch this video. I want you to have the knowledge. I want you to have the truth. I want to go past the stereotypes. We don't do superficial sun sign astrology on this channel. Hopefully you already know that. Hopefully you've seen my 300 videos and you already have a deeper understanding about astrology, and you see this way beyond a gimmick or way beyond, you know, the stars. People say, oh, you read the stars. No, I don't read the stars. I read the blueprint of your soul. And why do you exist? Your moon sign tells me a big piece of why you, my friend, are alive. So if you have Cancer rising or Cancer on the cusp of the first house, or Cancer even a little bit in the first house at the tail end, or if you have a Cancer moon, or if you have other planets in Cancer or the South Node or the North Node, listen to this part of the video because this is going to be the essence of the Cancerian part of you. Cancer in the first house. Go and find your moon placement by sign and by house. Put it in the comments and tell me where it's at. And then I want you to try something. After I tell you what Cancer in the first house means, and after you think about your moon sign and the house in which your moon is in, I want you to tell me a sentence about yourself and put it in the comments. I want you to at least try. I don't want you just to say, I have Cancer in the first house and I have, my moon in Capricorn in the 7th. What does that mean, Meredith? No, I want you to try. I want you to go watch my Capricorn videos, watch my 7th house videos, and you tell me, and then I will edit your thoughts. But at least try. Put some skin in the game. I have 10,000 clients in 27 countries. I don't want to just tell you what it means. I want you to do the research on this channel, and I want you to tell me what you think it means, and then I will help you. I'll help grow you. But try just a little bit, okay? It's what I tell my kid too. Don't hate me. Don't hate me. Just try. Try a little bit. And you know what? If you don't get it, that's okay. I'm more likely to respond and answer to it because you at least tried. So Cancer in the first house. This is a very intense placement. This is a very intense person. This is somebody who is highly psychic and highly intuitive, but this is a person who will seek security for themselves. And this is a person who has learned that they have to be self-reliant, emotionally reliant on self. They usually have an enormously protective side to themselves and to their hearts, and they usually do not allow themselves to be seen fully. They basically hide their persona. Think of Cancer as this is a part of you that you're going to hide a little bit. So it depends where your moon is. If your moon is in a hidden house, which is the 4th, the 8th, or the 12th, you're really hiding your emotions. Tell me if that's true for Cancer risings in Cancer first house with moon in the 4th, the 8th, or the 12th. I know there's plenty of you out there, so tell me, do you hide your emotions mostly? Probably the ugly ones especially. You might even hide the happy ones too. This is sort of also the VIP placement for mom. Mom shaped you. Mom is critical to you. Mom, you can't live without mom. You might be codependent on mom, or mom might be codependent on you. There is an interchange between you and mom that is inseparable. Mom is your prominent person. Mom is critical to your heartbeat. Your moon sign literally shapes every single thing that you do, and your moon might even be more influential than your sun sign. So tell me if you can relate to your moon more than even your sun sign, especially if your sun is in some buried place in the chart too. Just tell me how you feel about your moon sign versus your sun sign if you are Cancer rising or Cancer on the Cancer prominently in the first house. Your moon will shape you, and your moon will sort of guide you in every single thing that you do. Another way to say that is your sensitivity, your emotions, what you feel, how you feel, and your intuition shapes every single thing you do. This is like the moon is sort of super glued to you. You can't get away from your moon. Your moon is your feelings. And if you don't know what your moon is, go watch my part 1, and I do a whole entire video of what is the moon. So the moon is just so critical to this person's particular chart. And this is the most emotional placement of the entire zodiac combinations possible. This is the most emotional person having Cancer rising. And if you're Cancer rising with the moon in the first house, whoa, tell me if that's you, because this is a person who has to master emotional self-awareness. And the word that I would use to describe this placement is emotionally self-aware. And if you don't master this, I would say emotionally selfish. Okay, so if you've got Cancer on the 2nd house cusp or Cancer in the 2nd house, what I would say is the moon placement in your chart, go look for your moon, and the sign and the house that it is in will show you how you build self-esteem. It will show you how you feel of value, and it will show you how you are going to build your resources, how you're going to make your money, and your relationship to food and sustenance, and maybe even a home that you live in, a car or a home, the things that are material in your life that make your life go. It's going to show you how you interact and create and develop and nurture those things in your life. And your mom probably took care of the basic needs in your life. Your mom probably is more of a simple-minded person who is probably quite beautiful and maybe even lovely, or means well in life. If they're not beautiful, they are there for you after school, like food, bread, water, shelter, a warm blanket, hot chocolate on a Saturday night, really provided nice, solid, steady, stable place for you to live. You might not have had everything. You might not have been the wealthiest person, but you were taken care of. And this is a person who's going to need to have resources to feel safe and is going to want to be a person who feels emotionally valuable to others. Like, I'm the person who will take care of you if you're in need, if I have Cancer on the cusp of the second house. And I would say the word for this placement is feeling valuable to others. Okay, Cancer in the third house, or having the moon in the third house. But if you've got Cancer in the third house, I want you to go tell me where your moon sign is, what house is it in, and leave me a sentence on what you think this means. This will show what subjects you like to learn and think about and what you want to spend your time on. So if you are a Cancer third house person, wherever your moon is in whatever house, let's say your moon is in the 8th house, well, you're going to want to study, think, and talk about 8th house things. And how are you going to talk about them? Well, it depends what sign is there, right? This is going to be a person who has an enormous love for communication and learning and traveling and mobility. This is a really active person. And this is a person who needs to talk about their emotions. You probably had a mom that encouraged you to talk about your feelings, or at least reveal them or communicate, or you wrote your feelings in poetry or in music. Somehow you got the need to express your emotions and put them out there in the world, not keep them bottled up inside. No, no, no. I'm going to tell you there's quite a few things about the moon in the third house or Cancer in the third house, and that is that you were encouraged to talk about your feelings. Sometimes you might not know exactly what you feel. Sometimes you need your mom to help you figure out what it is you feel. And sometimes you have to research what you feel. You're going to feel loved if there's somebody who will take the time to talk about your feelings. And this is also kind of a childlike placement. So there's a little bit of you that, and I mean this in a loving way, it might take you time until after 36 years old where you really step into like emotional maturity, because there's a playfulness and there's sort of like a desire to like stay a kid, like, wow, this hurts, not a victim state, just kind of like, oh, I don't want to face all that. It's so complicated and icky and dark and I don't have time for this. This is a very busy placement. And I also want to tell you that in ancient times, when the moon was actually sitting in the third house, it meant that the heart was happy. This is the moon's house of joy. And the moon is very happy here. And I would say the word to describe this house is communicative. So if you have Cancer on the 4th house cusp, it means you're Aries rising. So every Aries rising has this, but this is the person who needs to feel connected to heritage, to its roots, and to its family. This is absolutely critical, and they feel very protective of, and they usually feel protected by people who love them. It's not always the mother, but it is usually somebody in the family has taught them or shown them what loyalty and what protection truly looks like. Having Cancer here means home really matters to you. Connectedness to your home is so critical to you being healthy. And you might not really talk about your emotions here. It depends. Go see where your moon is in the chart. And is it in an extroverted house, the 5th, the 9th, the 3rd, the 1st, then that's the 7th. Those are extroverted placements. And then you might express your emotions in a big way, but you will feel so intensely in such raw emotion. You will be so incredibly passionate about life that it might get you in trouble, and it also might be your blessing. And most likely, if you have Cancer in the 4th, you will create family in this lifetime, like you will become a parent in some way. And I would say that close bonds are absolutely critical. You have to feel like you have domain over animals or children or people that need you or family. You might run the roost. Tell me if that's true if you've got moon in the 4th house or if you have Cancer in the 4th house. And I would say that these people are intuitive. Tell me if you can relate. I know you're courageous because you're Aries rising, but down deep inside, you probably have an intuition that is so on. Okay, if you have Cancer in the 5th house, this is the house of pleasure and joy and sex and generosity, and you need all of that to feel loved and nurtured, and you probably are not bored, and you probably can't even deal with boredom. But maybe you have a mom that was really highly dramatic or creative or self-expressed or dominant or big or large or protective. You probably do. You have a need to feel safe and loved and nurtured, to be able to be accepted for being uniquely you, your unique creative expression. Like, I've just got to do me. I can't do you or you. I got to do me. And when I'm accepted for that, I feel loved, nurtured, and safe. And so I would say the word for this moon placement, or Cancer on the 5th house, cusp of the 5th house, or in the 5th house, is colorful. So Cancer in the 6th house, I find that this placement needs to be precisely how they want to be. They like things exactly the way they want to be them. And they feel loved and nurtured and acceptance when they are of value to others, when they are in service to others. They usually need, and we have to go see where your moon is. I mean, if it's in the 11th house, that's going to be a little different than if it's in the 3rd house or 2nd house. Remember, your moon is running this house, but usually these people like kind of a organization. They like their life to be organized and just so, precisely so. The crazy way they set it up is the way they want it, and they need it to be a regimen to feel safe and nurtured. And these people usually like to create sort of a safe haven with their emotional needs, but they do so in service to others or into other living things. It can be animals. And by caring for others, by being responsible for others, by being an excellent support system or a good provider in some way, shape, or form, is actually how they like to nurture and how they feel loved. I know it's weird because it's like through giving they feel loved. And they may have learned through their mothers to be of service to others at a very young age. They may have had to save their family, save their parent, take care of their mothers, take care of others. It sounds crazy, but that's also how they get fed emotionally. So Cancer in the 7th house, they have to have a relationship. They have to have a partnership or some kind of marriage or business partner. And they feel loved and nurtured when they find a partner that is similar to them, that reflects back to them themselves. They feel validated. They feel loved. They feel taken care of. When I see myself in you, I love you more. I know it sounds narcissistic, but it's not really. It's just like when you embody the same values, the same likes and tastes, I feel this closeness and this connectedness when we laugh at the same jokes, right? Oftentimes they're looking for their parent in their partner, for good or for bad. That's what they're looking for. And so where is the moon in your chart? Because that's going to show you what you actually value. Yes. And tell me you guys know what the different houses stand for. If you don't, you've got to watch my video, The Sun Through the Houses, to understand what the theme song is of each house. And if you guys really want to go deep into the psyche of what makes you uniquely you, come over to soulnavigation.com and click on book a reading and get a reading with anybody from my team at Team Soul Navigation. You'll see your choices. Everybody that is on my team is absolutely amazing. We're a small team. I chose very carefully these readers to join my team, and I think they're absolutely mind-blowing, accurate, wonderful, deep. They are so good at what they do, and I can't recommend them enough. Also, I try to answer as many questions as I can, but I have a really busy practice. I'm booked months out in advance. If you're a super supporter, I prioritize your questions and your comments. And by the way, I love you, super supporters. I'm going to be doing moon readings with real charts, so your name could get drawn. I'm going to try to do 2 to 4 different readings with real members' charts. So thank you. And if you haven't joined our program yet, you will learn so much with my behind the scenes videos. And I'm going to be showing you more techniques, and I'm going to be going into real charts on my members only videos. It's only 25 cents a day. So come join our community if you really want to learn. If you want to go past like sun sign astrology or like co-star, like, oh, you're an Aries, you're brave, you know. I just mean, like, we don't do stereotypical sun sign astrology on this channel. We go really, really deep. So come join us. Also, please subscribe. Please subscribe and share this video with anybody who you think loves astrology. I'm trying to grow my channel twofold. I feel like my channel is a little bit hidden and repressed. I can't tell you how many people have said, wow, I love you. Like, you're fantastic. I've never even seen your videos before. I'm like, oh my God, I've only been doing this for 4 years. I don't know why, but they're sort of suppressed. So please help me push my videos out there so people can really learn beyond the stereotypes of astrology and get the truth. And part of the truth about understanding your moon is knowing where Cancer is in your chart. And why does nobody talk about this? Why does nobody talk about this? Why do astrologers not talk about the important placement of Cancer in your chart? Boggles my mind. I can't stand it. If other astrologers start talking about how important Cancer is in your chart, just know they heard it here. Because nobody's talking about it. That's why I'm doing this video. I haven't found one freaking video on the whole entire internet on this subject. Okay, if you have the moon in the 8th house, I'm going to tell you right now, this is a very difficult placement. Tell me if you have this, because I want to send you a big fat giant hug, because I know that you've had emotional loss, divorce, death, goodbyes, loss, destruction, something. And tell me if this is you and what did you lose? And I love you. I care about you. I'm sorry. It doesn't mean that it's horrible. It doesn't mean that you won't outgrow it. It just means that you're going to build yourself. You're going to build your grit, your tenacity, your fortitude, your ability to love, your ability to have intimacy, your vulnerability, and probably the very best things about you out of some sort of losing something that was important to you, losing something that was very emotional. And this is if you have the moon in the 8th house or if you have Cancer in the 8th house. If you have Cancer in the 8th house, you will go figure out where your moon is in your chart and what sign is it in, and that probably will show you what you lost. You really got to know your placement. You got to know your placement for all of them, but for the 8th house, it's going to really tell a big part of the story. And this is very hidden. This is a hidden moon. This is like having a Scorpio moon, and this is in its fall. So this is challenging. You signed up for an emotional challenge, and this is very deeply feeling, but you'll never know it. This person will look so strong and so stoic and like nothing's ever, been wrong, and they are vulnerable with like maybe one person, maybe half a person. This is a very hidden heart, hidden emotions. They hide their feelings, hide their emotions, and they feel very deep, and they're very overwhelmed by the sadness in their life. That's why they hide it. They hide it behind a stone wall. These people can be more in touch with the melancholy and with the pain in life, unless you have a super cheerful everything else, like, oh, Sagittarius, everything else. But this person can be obsessed with the psychological aspects of life and people, digging into the hard to hear truths or the scary truths or the gruesome truths or the raw truths or the real truth or the truths. Deep losses have shaped this person's internal world. So I'm just saying, I care about you. Cancer in the 9th house here. These people need gargantuan freedom, and they probably have a little bit of a happier disposition. So if you have the moon in the 9th, or if you have Cancer on the 9th house cusp, you probably have like a ability to bounce back or have this like natural, happy or joyful, optimistic, find the silver lining, the glass is half full attitude for life. And it's hard for you to hold a grudge or stay depressed for a long time. This person, and tell me if this is true, is it hard for you to hold a grudge for a long period? It's exhausting holding a grudge, but you might have really big emotional reactions, high highs, low lows, but you'll feel a drive, an emotional drive to develop a belief system of what is right and wrong in the world. And then you'll want to seek out partners that emulate that very belief system, that right or wrong. And you'll want to attach to organizations or people that represent the very belief system that you have deemed correct or right or good or of value. And you're not going to feel safe or nurtured or loved by being involved with people that don't embrace that same value system or belief system. This is the house of God in a way, house of religion in a way, but think of belief system as what I mean by God, okay? You will feel loved, and you will need to find people that see eye to eye with you to be able to emotionally identify with certain doctrines and teachings. And you probably had a mom that had a huge hunger for the spiritual world, or had a deep belief system about certain things and passed it on to you. And so you will also feel safe with other cultures, and you might even have a broad mind in some way, or a visionary mind. This can also be a very intuitive placement. By the way, Cancer in the 8th house is highly psychic and very intuitive too. Cancer in the 10th house, or the moon in the 10th house. There is emotional security comes with status in life and having worked over time to build and grow and end up on the top of the mountain. And so you feel nurtured, you feel good, you feel happy, you feel content, you feel safe when you have the approval of society or your community or of your father or of your achievements, and where you feel recognized and respected. Like respect equals love. Respect and love go hand in hand, and you need a tremendous amount of material success. You need your movie accepted by Hollywood, you know, your book published, or your TED Talk recorded, or your marathon known, right? Like you need some sort of badge here in order to feel truly emotionally fulfilled. And you would feel quite insecure. So tell me if this is true, and tell me if you have the moon in the 10th, or if you have Cancer on the 10th house cusp, and tell me your age, because if you're under 36 years old and you haven't achieved this yet, okay, that's normal, okay? But if you're over 36, that's a different story. So I need to know your age again. But you know, if you were at the bottom of your social strata, or if you were poor, or if you felt disrespected or unsuccessful, and you had Cancer in the 10th or the moon in the 10th, like this would be very painful for you. But you probably had a family that promoted you growing up fast, and you maturing fast, and having emotional control over your feelings, and not like being collapsed by heavy emotions. Okay, Cancer in the 11th house, or having an Aquarius moon, you know, you developed a need, or you were shaped by either a parent that was emotionally detached, or you had a deep sense or deep need for emotional detachment, or in order to survive your chaotic family, you had to learn objectivity and emotional detachment in order to feel like comfortable. Like, I can't deal, I have to breathe, I have to separate from, like they are gonna like, they're gonna put a noose around my ankles and drag me into the pond with like a concrete block, and I'm gonna die if I go into their emotional world. So I'm going to cut off and feel nothing. So these are the masters of feeling nada. And I'm not saying that they actually really don't feel anything. I'm just saying that's like a part of their strategy to like they have deep emotional management. These people have the most emotional management I've ever seen. It's not even necessarily a good thing. It's just a survival thing. It's like, I'm not going into your messy, icky world because I may drown and die and suffocate in your emotional drama. And so they feel the most comfortable with emotional independence. And your mom may have even emotionally detached from you, and then that was passed down from you, or your mom may have created an environment in which you had to detach from. But I'm just telling you, you learned emotional detachment. You also really feel loved when you're seen as different, when you're seen as not a cookie cutter, when you're seen as making a unique stamp on life, or like breaking through, having a breakthrough, or creating a revolution, or improving life, or evolving life at a new stratospheric level. Like somehow your contributions in life created some sort of new revolutionary thing. That's when, and that's recognized, that's when you feel truly loved. Like, wow, you are so unique and different. That's when you feel like you can bond. When somebody can recognize your uniqueness, you can create a bond. Also, there's a real desire to embrace not intimacy, but humanity. Not having an intimate relationship necessarily, but understanding like humanity and its problems, and saving or serving or creating breakthroughs for humanity. This heart operates at a much larger level. So you have to go see, where is your moon? If Cancer is on the 11th house cusp, where the heck is your moon? Because that's going to show you the theme in which you want to kind of change the world, nurture the world. Intimacy here, this is the opposite of the 8th house. Intimacy here is saving the world, more so than just, me and you going to the depths of our souls. Although Cancer in the 11th house can talk very deeply, but they usually talk very deeply about humanity and life, not about what it is they are afraid of, or not about their own vulnerability. So Cancer in the 12th house is really interesting. This is such a deep placement, and you, of course, like every house, but you really have to, this is a hard house to understand, just in general, not with the moon here, with the sun, Mars, anything here, because it's an enigma. It's an enigmatic house. It's Neptune's house, it's Jupiter's house. So it's like trying to understand or make a smoke ring tangible. It's very hard. You know what I mean by a smoke ring? Like when you smoke a cigarette and you blow a smoke ring, it's like if I'm trying to contain that smoke ring, and I look at it, it's gone. By the time I look at it, it's gone. So it's a hard house to grasp. When you have Cancer here, this is a very deep placement, because this is a merging with all of life, all living things. And you can feel the boundless, and I mean boundless, try that feeling on. There are no limits. There are no edges. This is infinite love. This is very big. And not every sign is going to even be able to relate to this. But if you have Cancer in the 12th house, you get me, right? Tell me if you have Cancer in the 12th house. Please tell me. And please tell me how old you are. Tell me where your moon is. You can feel the boundless energy of all things. And there is an infinite awareness of creation, of life, springing from its source. And if this isn't your placement, you're wondering, what the hell am I even saying? You're like, what the hell is she even freaking talking about? But if you have Cancer here, or the moon here, or the sun here, or Mercury here, I'm pretty sure you get me. And if you've watched all the way to the end of this, thank you. God bless you. I love you. There's an attunement to others that's psychic. And there's a sensitivity to your emotion, but that almost doesn't matter. There is an attunement to other emotions of animals, plants, all living things, anything that has life in it, a plant, animal, or human. Even a building, even a facade on a building, you will emotionalize that if you have a Cancer placement here. There is a sensitivity to your emotions and other people's emotions, where you can tap into the vulnerabilities of self and others at such a heightened level. You may have a mom that was restless, or that had a huge array of emotions, but mostly your mother denied negative emotions, hid them. You might have seen them. You might have been psychically or intuitively aware of them, but you also knew that she didn't want you to know what she was feeling. And so you could have pretended that you didn't see all that you saw. Will you leave me a comment and let me know if that's true? So when you saw your mother wounded, or you saw your mother hiding her emotion, you respected her hiding it, and you also co-conspired with her and let her know that you didn't see it because she was hiding it, even though you saw it. Are you with me? Are you following me? It's like you couldn't see your mom in a way that she didn't want you to see her due to loving her, although you saw it all, or you saw it in hindsight. Cancer 12th house, please leave me a comment and let me know, or moon in the 12th, and let me know if you get this, because this is really, really deep. And I don't think the other signs will get this as much. I want them to, but I don't know if they will, because it's very, very complex. And you may also have a mom that revealed too much sometimes, and then covered it up at other times. And so the boundaries were never really clear. Okay, so these are the 12 Cancer placement signs. I'm going to go into the different moon signs in my future videos, but I want you to watch this entire series, this entire playlist on the moon, so you can know yourself at the deepest level. So where do you have Cancer in your chart? And where is your moon? And what house is it in?